screams coming
Oh,
from the
there's
other side
another
of the
part to
street.
this story?
It was the same crazy man. Now...
Alright guys, what's up? Welcome back for another video, man. Thank you guys for tuning in for tonight's episode. And yep, it's part 3, baby. Part 3 of August through October. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you guys for even clicking on it. So just a recap of what happened last time. What I can remember is little dude tried to run away from his house and he got chased down by some serial killer. Some guy was a group of people were in the forest and Jeff the killer was trying to get them or something. Oh yeah, how could I forget? Some taxi driver got GTA for his own cab. I try to tell these boys out here, man, you either finesse or get finesse. I try to tell them. But yeah, guys, I don't want to spend too much time on the intro, man. Just roll the clip, man. Just roll the clip. Let's get started. I like how I say I don't want to spend too much time on the intro, but I don't even have an intro, to be honest. Let's start it, man. Let's start it. Alright, bet. The hell was that? I was attacked by a psycho in the alleyway.
This fact happened when I was 15 years old. Beginning of last year, 2018, when I finally got to sophomore year here in Brazil. It was an ordinary Friday night. Suddenly I felt a little bit hungry, so I decided to put on some clothes and go to the snack bar.
Do they got Uber Eats in Brazil?
10 minutes from my house. I usually
Let me know
pass
in
through
the
the alley
comments
to go to the snack bar, but that time everything was so creepy in there. When I was halfway there, it was dark, empty, abnormally cold and gloomy. I felt slightly intimidated, but there was nothing there that could really harm me. So I decided to just go through that
except
alley.
people are trying to
And I
mug
thought,
you.
"Nah, nothing's gonna happen." I kept
That's really
going
the only
until I
thing.
suddenly heard something weird on the other side of the alley. There was a man in there, staring at the walls in hunchback stance, grunting weirdly.
Oh, he crazy.
I found that incredibly creepy, but I was nearly at the snack
hurt
bar,
you, my
so
dude?
all I needed was just to get out of that
Was it a
alley.
girl?
Walk 1 minute more and I finally would get there, instead of making it all the way home with empty hands. Thus, I decided to ignore him and pass through after all.
This man making bear
I finally
noises.
passed through him. He turned to me and stared at me with a creepy smile, which made me walk a little bit faster, trying to avoid him. Then, suddenly, I heard a grunt and quick steps behind me. When I looked back, it was him.
Oh, I thought he was about to get
We were barely
stabbed.
2 feet away from each other. He had a kitchen knife in his right hand and jumped on me with amazing speed and tried to stab me. I managed to grab both of his arms before he could get me.
Yeah.
However, since he was charging at me,
Right
he still
before
had
he's
more
about to
energy
kill
push me
somebody,
back
then you
and
know
force
he
me
always
against
says
the
some
wall.
catchphrase, right?
I was terrified with all of
Booyah!
that. I knew I would die if I didn't fight
What the
back.
fuck?
Back then, I was already trained in some
Yeah,
martial
yeah,
arts to
right.
defend
Stop
myself,
capping.
but that I thought I'd never need to use that skill to defend my life until now. So, in a sudden burst
This
of
man
adrenaline,
turned into Bruce
I managed
Lee.
to twist the wrist which he was holding the knife, kicking his stomach and punching him mercilessly in the face several times. In the end, his face was bleeding so much, but his body was ignoring the pain of the blows in his body and only focusing on killing me. Finally, I used a training that I took
Headbutt him.
before to twist both of his wrists and elbows harshly at the same time.
But just choke him out.
Forced in 2 different directions and kicked the backside of his leg, putting him to the ground until ultimately he could drop the knife.
Put him to sleep,
wasn't
bro.
easy because he was
Put him to
struggling
sleep.
and
Submit
punching
it.
my
Submit
back
it, bro.
And somehow
Not
tried to
submit.
jump on
Submission.
me. But since I had his arm under my grasp, he couldn't do much without breaking himself. I slammed his head in the concrete ground, stunning him. Then kept striking his face desperately while kneeling over his arm so he wouldn't be able to react or reach his
Damn,
knife
bro.
again. And finally, he was out
Ruthless.
cold, bleeding a
There
lot.
you go, bro. You gotta do what
My
you gotta
knuckles
do.
were full of
Now go
blood
get a
and
beer.
hurt. So
You earned
I
it.
got up, took his knife, throwing it far away from there, and ran away from him. I finally got to the snack bar, washed my hands in there, and did everything I had to do before
All
going
this
back
for
home.
a snack, bro.
But obviously, I didn't take the same path as I did before.
Savage.
But there were things that got much creepier. That was at the entrance of my apartment, where I heard screams coming
Oh,
from the
there's
other side
another
of the
part to
street.
this story?
It was the same crazy man. Now,
Rule number
seeming
2,
like he
they
was
always come
possessed
back.
by a demon, and he was slamming his head on the iron door of my building's entrance. His face was horribly deformed and scarred from our fight.
Shit.
That freaked me out completely. My parents were on a trip, and the watchman of our building was on vacation. I wasn't going to fight that man again, so I decided to rush to my girlfriend's house.
I mean, I wouldn't take her chances.
When I got there, she was home alone. She looked worried because I was looking pale, and there were still some marks of the man's blood on my clothes. I explained everything to her, and we called the police to come by my building. And when they arrived, the man was still in the entrance trying to force the doors unsuccessfully. When he saw the police, he attacked them, but got quickly dominated by the cops. They explained that he was probably a crazy
that was over
psycho
here,
in the
they wouldn't
streets looking
hesitate,
for
bro.
prey, to rape, kill, or do anything he wanted to the person. So they sent him to a high-security mental asylum for criminals far away from my house. I feel so lucky that I survived that day, and I'm hoping that I will never see that man again.
You probably will, no cap. Someone was beside me while I was sleeping. Ugh.
When I was 10 or 11, my cousin and aunt visited
I was about to
us.
say, the whole
We had fun
animation
throughout the
looking like
day,
that. I mean, it
and my aunt
low-key
and
is.
cousin decided to sleep at my other aunt's
Kinda
house
ass,
before
no
leaving
cap.
early in the morning. After such a fun day, I insisted upon sleeping at my aunt's house too, so I could spend more time with everyone. Later that night, we all fell asleep in the guest room, the only room that was available for us.
Who's
I woke
telling
up
the
suddenly
story?
at 5 a.m. I heard
Her?
my mom and other aunt
Okay.
talking, so I was definitely awake. I saw that my cousin and aunt's things weren't there anymore, so I assumed they'd already left.
They did.
I was about to fall back asleep. I looked at my left and saw someone sleeping beside me.
Oh.
I was about to hug her,
You about to
thinking
hug
it
her
was my
too?
21-year-old girl cousin.
Oh, shit.
But then I
That
saw
wasn't her.
Kate.
And she's smiling too.
She wasn't my
She
cousin
knows
at
you
all.
staring at her.
She was someone I didn't know, but she looked about the age of my cousin.
Yo.
She wore pajamas and a black shirt, and all I could do was stare at her. She started doing strange things, like stretching her legs up and down.
Bro,
and
she's
just
possessed.
focusing on the ceiling.
She's possessed. Get out of
It
there.
was all so odd. But feeling tired, I eventually
Hey,
drifted
you.
off to sleep.
No,
like
man.
nothing
Get
had
up.
happened. I woke up at 8 a.m., looking at my left, and she was gone. I told everything to my mom and every
Ain't
family
nobody gonna
member in
believe
the
you.
house. But no one knew what
I
I had
knew it.
experienced or
I
who the
knew.
girl
I would have
was.
laughed too.
My dad told me that my third eye was starting to see more.
No cap. If my son
but
ever
I
tells
didn't
me a
really
story like
believe
that, bro,
that.
I'm gonna just laugh.
I'm turning 13 now, and that experience still remains a mystery to me. It never happened to me again, and hopefully it won't.
My friend nearly got us killed.
Hi, my name is Adil,
Rule number 1,
and
man.
this
Be
is a
your
true
own
story.
boys.
The police
Trust,
had finished
bro.
this case, and the man
These
is
rules in
prison
life,
now. I was 14
they
at the
apply
time
to
this took
everything.
place.
Literally.
I was in a school and sitting in a history lesson that was so boring.
But you look like you
My
get
friend Noel, who
spitballs
was
get
sitting
thrown
opposite me,
at.
said I could come over on Saturday, as his parents were not going to be there because they were going on a weekend away. That meant we could stay up as long as we wanted. This was not uncommon, as we both invited each other to stay at one another's house, and I thought we were going to have a great time. Saturday came and I was so
Sus.
ready. I packed my essentials like my toothbrush, my new game, and my pepper spray. My parents always made me carry it, and I didn't mind
Nah, bro.
because it made me feel safe.
Carry
too.
a taser, bro.
I went on my way, and 30 minutes later, after walking, arrived to Noel's house. As he opened the door, he looked a little tense and shifty. I walked in and locked the door after me, to which he became even more
He
anxious.
looks so fucked
I
up,
asked him
bro.
if everything was all right, and he said it was.
What's wrong with his
Not trying to
mouth,
put it
bro?
down on the evening, I asked him if we could play the new game I bought. He wasn't really interested, but said yes anyway. After 30 minutes of watching him not playing and just holding the controller in his hand, I switched off the TV and asked him what
What's
was
wrong
going
with
on.
him, bro?
To which he
You on
replied,
drugs?
I need your help. I asked him what he needed my help for.
Shit.
He told me that this man who added him on Facebook was actually stalking him in real life, and as to how he wanted to meet Noel.
Why would you
He warned
add
him
somebody
that if he
back,
told his
bro?
parents, he would kill them.
What the
So
fuck?
Noel, being the stupid idiot, he told him to come at 8 p.m.,
Are
5
you
minutes from now.
stupid?
he was scared, so he asked me to
You
come
even
to
put
this
the
meeting
Addy
to get
down
rid
and
of him,
everything?
and that if he had told me at school, I never would have agreed
Dog.
to come. He was right.
These
I
kids.
felt
He was
betrayed that he brought me
right.
here under false pretenses.
Oh, he
I
played
was
him.
also angry at his stupidity
Yo.
of him giving his address away as well.
He played him.
However, I had no time to argue. I was just glad he told me about
Yo,
this guy.
dog. So far we've seen
I
rule
grabbed
number
my pepper
2
spray
and rule
just
number
sat there
1.
on the couch. The doorbell rang at 8 p.m.
Oh,
I just
shit,
sat there
man.
hoping he would leave after a little bit. However, then I started to hear scratching and realized he was breaking in with some sort of tool. I quickly ran into the kitchen with Noel and
Where
we
are
heard
your
the door lock
parents,
get
bro?
broken, and someone kicked the door in. The lights were on and we were hiding behind the large fridge. The man in a deep voice shouted, "Noel!"
And you said your real name too, bro?
We didn't reply.
Man.
Then he shouted, "Noel, where the heck are you? I'm going to kill you." I had a plan. At this point, I pushed Noel out from behind the fridge. Noel started going back, and the man was walking forward, chuckling.
I would
As
do
soon as
that
he came near
too,
the
bro.
distance
You're
of the
like
fridge,
fucking
I
dog.
shot out and sprayed pepper spray in his eyes.
I'm not here for. I'm
He
only here to
screamed
play
in
video
pain and then
games,
started
bro.
swinging the screwdriver in his hand. I grabbed the screwdriver and picked up a pan laying there and hit him on the head.
Yo,
He blacked out.
this
He
is
was
lit.
dressed in a smart suit.
he looked
and
like-
was clean shaven.
He looked like he
called
belonged in the
police and later
CIA,
found
bro.
out that he was a man who was being monitored because there were several complaints of stalking and threatening behavior. They also found many tools in a bag he left near the door that would
Yeah, he
dismember a
just
body.
pushed his boy out there, bro.
Thankfully, this sicko didn't kill anyone. However, I'm now happy that Noel called me because I dread to think what would have happened if I wasn't there.
That's crazy, man. All right, guys, we're going to stop it right there, man. Thank you if you made it to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the video. Man, honestly, like these episodes that we've been watching, they've been getting into a lot of confrontation, bro. It's just very funny to me, man. I like the thrill, man. I like the thrill. The rush, you feel me? But yeah, guys, like I said, man, I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you for all your love and support, man. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'm out. Oh, yeah, stay tuned for part